Well, hot damn, fellow armchair Imagineers. It's another Tuesday night, which means it must be time for the Just Giggle It grab bag. It's charming announcer voice guy here, along with,
BlueDragonFive.
and we're here to bring you another duo of sketch comedy from the minds behind Harley Quinn and the Joker versus the real world. That's right, because I'm charming announcer voice guy, and I'm going to end this gag right now, Dragon, because I don't even know where I'm going with it.
I was just scratching my head at that one.
Yeah, I'm just gonna go in like all smooth talking. Like honestly, Dragon, that's kind of how I like to start these every. Like I kind of like to do the whole like. That's right, it's Tuesday night. It's time to talk some Just Giggle It. You know, I like to do like the late night talk radio vibe. That's kind of the thing I'm going for. Anyways, how the hell are you, Dragon?
I'm well.
Good. So tonight, folks, we're here to talk about two sketches from Just Giggle It. We're getting close to our season finale for the Just Giggle It Grab Bag Dragon. That will be episode number 10. And then we've got sort of a different structure plan for season 2, folks, that we'll kind of get into maybe closer to the end of the season. But rest assured, we've still got a whole lot of awesome sketch comedy shows from the good minds behind Harley Quinn and Joker versus the real world. I guess, Dragon, do you want to do your plug for Harley and Joker before we get into the thick of things?
Yeah, sure. So, guys, I mean, no joke. Recently, like I believe yesterday, I was just watching it for the heck of it because Just Giggle was on my mind, getting ready for this, and I rewatched, as I encourage all of you to do, Harley Quinn and the Joker versus the Real World, episode 5. Because episode 5 is sort of it's a continuation. It's a new episode, but of course, in that episode, we introduce our new Harley, Nicole Dubois, and I mean she's wonderful in the role. And I was just kind of marveling at the opening of that episode, and just kind of I got wrapped up in it. So I just watched it to the end. It was like, oh, but I was having such a good time. And folks, for a show to be that infectious, for a show that gets characters that you hold dear, so right. If you're a Batman fan, you have a love for the Joker. You have a love for the Joker. I'm sure you have a love for Harley Quinn to some degree, and folks, this show it's taken the best of the Joker in all his various forms. Kind of mainly, it's the animated series Joker mixed in with got a bit of Nicholson there. You got a bit of Nicholson, got a bit of Ledger intensity. You get the whole kind of the greatest hits of Joker, not even just from the big screen, from the comics. Same thing with Harley Quinn. You got a bit of Suicide Squad cosmetically, but you have just kind of a Tara Strong with Nicole Dubois's performance. Anyway, so folks, I encourage all of you, if you like Batman and you want a fan film series unlike any other, you want a fan film series that is more of just a series that happens to feature some very iconic characters in a new setting, going from Gotham to LA, kind of trying to strike it new. I highly recommend Harley Quinn and the Joker versus the Real World. Watch all the episodes, but especially watch episode 5. Tell your neighbors, tell your friends, tell your mothers, tell your pets even. Get them to watch it, get them to rewatch it, get them to send it all around. Help get it to 1 million, because if we get it to 1 million, folks, we get more episodes of this wonderful series. And again, folks, episode 5, not just talking about it, but rewatch it because I really like it. And it's definitely confirmed, as Tiki and I keep talking about it. I think it's our favorite so far. We want to get more potential favorites down the line. We've been promised like some really good episode premises in the future. The only way to see if those are going to be any good, to see if those are going to be as amazing as the previous 5. We got to get it to 1 million and just going to roll the dice. And let's see what's going to happen with Harley Quinn and Joker living in Los Angeles with all sorts of crazy shenanigans. You never know.
All right, Dragon, so let's move on to the first of our 2 sketches this evening. As always, folks, we will be doing an original sketch and then a parody sketch. That's the format we're kind of working with for the time being until we inevitably sort of run out of parodies or start to draw the line between the definition of a parody. But we'll cross that bridge when we get there. So tonight we'll be talking about Game Night, followed by the Powerpuff Girls live-action remake. So, Dragon, let's first talk about Game Night. No, this is not a parody on the 2018 comedy movie starring Jesse Plemons. But Dragon, as I've been hyping up, and if the good folks at Just Giggle It or anyone else watching has not seen that movie, Go see it. Seek it out. It's probably my favorite comedy of 2018 so far. Jesse Plemons is absolutely hysterical. He has some moments in the movie that just caused me to almost hyperventilate from laughter. I'm not even hyping that up.
So basically, you had the Brooklyn Nine-Nine experience I have.
Pretty much. Like I was just dying from Jesse Plemons, Dragon. Jesse Plemons is just he absolutely steals that movie.
He was your Terry Crews, essentially.
Pretty much, yeah. All right. But anyways, so game night, we're going to start with game night, then we'll move to Powerpuff Girls. Game night, Dragon, is listed under Just Giggle It's dark sketches. So we're going to be getting kind of a dark humor, sort of morbid ending here, much in the same vein of two of the other sketches that we've talked about already, which are One Night Stand and Serial Mom. This is kind of in that same fold.
Even star Serial Mom. All right. So this episode was directed, written, and edited not by Joshua Thomas. Haha, not by him. You know, a little change of pace here. It was directed by Brian Wiley, who in the image before you folks, he's the man on the very left. That is our faithful director, editor, and writer. This sketch, and this is the 40th. This is the 40th sketch by Just Giggle It, I believe, around kind of the 2014 range. And essentially, our premise is, we got two friendly couples playing charades, and our couples' names are, we got Luna and Artie, and also, very interestingly, we have Miles and Jackie. Now, Tiki, I gotta tell you,
Jackie. She's the glue that holds this place together.
Now, folks, I'm just gonna bounce this off here real quick. Do you think
Just
it's in
cinematic universe?
That's what I'm saying. I think Jackie is. I think this is the same Jackie. This is what she does on the weekends. Like I'm saying, like obviously those guys they stopped fawning over her, and then she moved on. She met Miles, and she's playing charades with her friends on the weekend. That's what I think's happening. I think it's the same Jackie. Please confirm this in the comments, somebody. From Just Giggle, because I thought it'd be hilarious if that's the case. Could be very coincidental. I'm saying Jackie, of all the names to give Piper Henson, a character she's played before named Jackie. That seems highly suspect.
All right.
All right. So we start off with Brian Wiley as Miles. He's kind of doing a running motions. Again, they're playing charades, so he's charading running.
So they're guessing different running things. Run, Forrest, run. Logan's run. Run, Lola, run. Cannonball run. There's a lot of cannonball runs, Dragon.
Then we have hilariously, I think the one Terminator 3 or 4. So right now, again, the gist of our comedy here, again, in the Just Giggle It fashion, we think we know what they're going for here, and we think, okay, it's classic, classic charades gag. Hence the game night. Oh, ha ha ha. Okay, it's going to be just some friends doing charades, and what we're seeing before us here, a lot of silly, ridiculous guesses, and we think that's what it's going to be. And again, that comedy's there, but to lull you into a false sense of security. So the eventual guess that gets it is Green Mile. It's Green Mile.
Right.
So Jackie gets it again. Same Jackie.
I mean, what can we say, Dragon? Jackie is almost as awesome as Ivy.
Almost.
Kind
of like almost like an equal level, Ivy's the best.
I just love how Ivy is just fallen off the face of Gotham after being hyped up like that.
Yeah, I really doubt that she's going to be in the season finale.
Oh God. Anyways.
So let's see. So oh yeah, and this is fun. I love Piper Henson's little victory dance, which is. I'm trying to think. I think she has the victory dance in place, and she's like lifting her arms in the air. Ooh, she's doing a little victory dance. It's funny. All right, so then next up is Luna. Now, Luna is played by Jamie Cox, Serial Mom herself. So she eats. She looks at her little slip of paper. She knows what her charade is. She takes a handful of like salsa chips or something. Takes a handful of chips. You just shoves them in her mouth, and then she then she motions 3 words, and she's making essentially these Frankenstein hands. She's it's kind of doing like the Frankenstein like long
And
arms
the crazy
motion.
thing, Dragon, is that rewatching this sketch, you almost have to wonder if if she was intentionally doing this to herself.
It is. I mean,
I think there's something ambiguous about it.
here's what makes it ambiguous. We see that the friends are very competitive, so it does raise the
Yeah, yeah.
question. Like, was it the edge of victory of like I'm going to do whatever it takes, whatever it takes. So, okay, so Julian Silver, he plays Artie, and again, he was so funny and kind of strange. It's what happens when you have sketch comedy a lot, folks. You're going to reuse players in different roles at various times. So we have Jamie Cox and Julian Silver playing a couple where in Serial Mom they play mother and son. Which is pretty
yes.
funny and kind of Bates Motel level, kind of fun, disturbing. So,
I'm sure that type of stuff happens on SNL all the time.
And that's what I'm saying. Exactly. It's kind of high praise when you have like it's like you're like the greats. You're doing a bunch of sketches. When you're able to do a bunch of sketches with your friends and with your co-stars, you're gonna double up on roles. So it's bound to happen. So okay, let's see. So
again, we kind of get ridiculous guesses round 2.
Yes,
but it starts to become ridiculous when the stuff that they're guessing it should be like dead giveaways of something's not quite right here. Like, let's see, choke. What's eating Gilbert Grape?
Okay, yeah, you're right. That before that though, we had Monsters Inc., which by the way, Just Giggle It does have a Monsters Inc. sketch, so that's kind of a little funny little coincidence there. But yes, so then they're guessing like Frankenstein, Harry and the Hendersons, which is a really good movie. I recommend everybody, by the way, Harry and the Hendersons.
Good job, John Lithgow role there.
Yes. Oh my God, Lithgow is so good in that. Lithgow has a. I don't know. I'm going to trail off into John Lithgow. So let's get back. Point is, so
Luna's kind of waving her hands up in the air. Fly away home.
So again, the comedy begins with we have the obvious joke, and again, this is where the turn happens, where a big turn begins, and she's making the choking motion, and so we think the obvious joke of okay, it's just charades, and everyone's a little having a silly fun with it. And of course, it would seem not so much. And she's starting to cough. Hey, you can't make a sound. You can't make a sound,
Luna.
Luna's making the unit. Now I love this take, and this is what makes this really kind of darkly funny. Is that literally the universal sign, the thing that's on all the signs for like CPR and for choking and the Heimlich maneuver. She makes the universal sign of choking, and they misinterpret it as it's a twofold thing. They misinterpret it as okay, she's pretending to choke, and then the real gag to me, as you said, is like they're throwing a completely random, bizarre Artie. I love that. I have a little headcanon here that Artie throws at what's eating Gilbert Grape, which is a ridiculous guess. Which how the heck does that relate to choking in the slightest? But my interpretation is that Artie just sucks at charades. I think that's kind of the secret gag there is that Artie in this situation is even less help because he stinks at charades.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, because I think he's throwing at Monsters Inc. He's throwing all the really wrong guesses. I think he's just terrible at it. So she's waving. She's beginning to cry. I love this. I mean, you can see the tears starting to form as they're saying, like, "Hey,"
cry, and again, like Drake and I actually rewatched Serial Mom right before we went on, and the thing I noticed about Serial Mom rewatching it is that the actress is really we have that great moment, the moment like right after the whole I need my mom, I want my mom. And you can see the actress like her humanity wants to shine through, right? Like she has this moment of pause, this moment of pondering, but then she goes right back into her Serial mom loop. So I don't know. I think this actress is good as like conveying like those kind of subtleties in the face.
Yeah.
All right.
No, I think you're absolutely right. So again, we go from she's starting to cry and they misinterpret it as crying games, and she's just waving it off like
cry.
Okay, now I gotta tell you that one. I just love that pool so much. Bridge on the River Kwai. Just like I respect that pool. It's like there's Alec Guinness. I respect that pool. So and then Luna drops to her knees, and again, this is what I love how long and drawn out this part of it is here. She's going to her knees, and like it's we see you buy it, the life is draining out from her
Mhm.
here. She's dropping to her knees, and then they're like throwing a hunt for the Red October, which again, it's making less and less sense. I honestly, I
The
think
mad,
what they
mad,
might
mad, mad world.
here's the thing. I think what they might have been trying to go for here, and I'm just speculating here. I think they might have been trying to go for like she's changing color and maybe she's starting to become like a red color. But I guess it's really hard to kind of it's hard to sell that on a budget. You know, it's hard to
Uh-huh.
sell it kind of a changing color, make it look like not just like hey she has face paint on.
Uh-huh.
So I think that might be why they're kind of otherwise just it still works either way. It's just like random like why red all of a sudden? Why are we how are we getting red? So, Hunt for the Red October, Red State. Then we have a good guess, actually. Eyes Wide Shut. So then Luna, Luna very graphically, her very graphically, she falls and true to life, she passes out.
Right after the final guess, which is waiting to exhale.
Again, I gotta tell you, so I think Hinson has some of again, she has the two big lines of the whole thing. I think waiting to exhale is one of them where again it's the dark joke of it all where yeah, it's a guess that is not necessarily wrong. And again, it's Hinson's delivery. And I love the competitive edge that she has in her performance, which we'll bring out in a moment here. So Miles walks over, he checks her pulse, like checks the breathing and everything. And, and this is funny. He has very much kind of almost like a CSI. He has like a this epic glasses removal. Where he like this over the top. Removes his glasses. Says, "I think she's dead." When Miles does that again, it's almost like a David Caruso moment where he
You
takes off the
almost
sun.
expect like the yeah, do.
Yeah. So here's one of the gauges that kills me. So well, more so it kills Luna, but kills me a little too. We have this pause, just again this pause after I think she's dead, and again just giggle it. And now, folks, this is a real short but sweet sketch, but you got to remember they have to make the most out of their time when they do something like that. So I love that they've been building to this, and they kind of knew they know their punchline, and they know just like when to hold on it, like to know it's kind of holding on the 1001, 1002 kind of comedy high of it all. We're okay.
Sure.
Okay, death, pause, then Jackie asks, "What does the card say?" And this thing, Tiki, I've always marveled at Piper Henson. This is like one of those moments where I have to marvel at her again because you see in the performance, her eye shifts, and that's communicating the competitive edge, and that's the tip off of like. She's moving her eyes like yeah. Basically, it's tipping off what the big gag's going to be in a few seconds. Like it's okay. We're hinting at okay. She's asking out of curiosity, but again motivated by she really wants to win the game, and she had the victory dance at the beginning. So it's laying the foundation for the big payoff. So, Tiki, what does the charade card say?
The trade card is death becomes her.
Just great black humor. Just great black humor from Just
Which,
Giggle
like
right
I
here.
said, Dragon, there is a point to be made that Luna could have hypothetically been, the death. Like, she starts out with doing the zombie impressions, right? And then, like, how does she illustrate that the zombie becomes her? Well,
Nothing says death like actually dying.
that's what I'm saying, Dragon. And so it's the response at the end that really sells the whole skit, though, where the other couple is just like, "Are you kidding me? That's cheating." You see, this is why we don't like playing with you guys anymore. We're out.
And again, the Just Giggle It stamp of not being afraid to go there. Not that we're not doing like the other ways they could have approached this. The other obvious, like kind of cliche ways they could have approached this. Again, ordinarily you think, okay, well, obviously that's where they're going, and of course they're not. They're not just going to that instant, like like hey, she's to the point where hey, she's faking choking the whole time, or she's like just really committed to the bit, or like they save her at the last bit and she just like rants on them like, "You guys didn't save me, you didn't realize I was actually choking." We didn't do it. You would expect
Uh-huh.
that. But they didn't do that. Like she's not okay the end at all. And we live with the consequences here and we play it realistically with Artie. who's like he's crestfallen.
Yeah, he's crestfallen. He's just like he's just lost his wife, and now his friends hate him.
Yeah, like first of all, the ridiculousness of that's cheating. How is that cheating? She died. So again, it's just like death, consequence, joke, boom. It's like they have a formula. They have like a proper formula down pat. And again, T, it's always that. It's kind of dawned on me in this moment here. I'm surprised it hasn't dawned on me before, but I think the reason I can't speak for you. I think the reason I like Just Giggle It on some level is they kind of hit upon kind of the in their comedy they have sort of the Pixar matchstick moment kind of style to their comedy where you think you know where it's going, you the audience think you know where it's going, then of course they subvert that in a big way. It's kind of it's the ultimate play of an audience's expectation, like a Pixar matchstick moment.
Mhm.
You know, like of course, just for context, real quick, you know, like the scene in Toy Story where you know they where they're going to light the rocket. They're going to light the rocket. Woody strikes the match, and then the car blows out. Then they find an alternative way of, getting back to the getting over the moving van. So again, it's kind of your matchstick moment in a nutshell there. Anyway, so yeah, this is why we don't play with you guys. We don't play with you guys anymore. So Miles, so sorry, Artie is in shambles as they leave defiantly as if they're in the right. So here's my one gripe with the whole thing. So again, that's great, it's wonderful, but then we have a gag at the very end. I feel it's kind of in a one night stand thing where they have a gag. I think more so than one night stands up to interpretation. That's subjectivity. This one I think really does hurt the sketch. We have a.
I mean, to me, I kind of just looked at it as like, oh, it's like a post credits sting, you know.
Well, here's the thing. So we have one of the actor who looks. We have. I'm trying not to mispronounce his name. Sagar Shaikh. I looked up the pronunciation, but I forgot the first name. It's it's. The point is like Sagar Shaikh. He makes his entrances. What the heck? And that's that's the end. My problem is that's not much of an ending gag. I think they really should have just ended the bold way they were going to, or just okay. So Artie's in shambles. We process it. We kind of take time to linger on it.
Oh, you know what? I do agree with you because I always forget that guy is there. Every time I watch the sketch, it always just doesn't. It's not a memorable gag to end on. That's the thing. You know what I mean?
I know it's not bad. It's just honestly it hurt. I think it hurts the overall thing because again, just you're left with it's like a cherry on top with a guy who's allergic to cherries almost. It's where it's like it's like yeah, this is I'm enjoying this Sunday, but oh look, surprise cherry. Man, I don't get it, man. He'll just pluck it off. He'll be fine. It's like, why is this here? I asked for no cherries.
Right.
It's kind of what it is. And again, it's just like it's a random gag where okay, well, who's this guy entering? The guy, look, he doesn't even we don't even credit him in the video, which suggests that he's he's tacked on at the very end. They're like, why do we have this guy here? Then we have a funny. This is funny. This is kind of like their kind of. The whole they basically play charades with Luna playing charades with a bunch of them. They're playing charades to encourage people to subscribe. And see, that's them kind of having their cake and eating too. Where we did this really dark joke and we kind of showed to the kiddies at home that hey, Luna's fine, didn't really die. I mean, she died in the sketch, but in real life, hey, she's fine. We're doing like a little light. Yeah, you got to get some subscribers by doing
or maybe just YouTube post video bumpers are the afterlife dragon. Maybe we've cracked the code.
Also, I just had a thought too when I was watching the subscriber thing. I was just Piper Henson. She's so precocious in that subscribe ending. Where basically she solves the charades and subscribe. I don't know. It's like kind of pleasant. That was kind of big.
Okay.
All right. So final thoughts.
Yeah, final thoughts. I just I really appreciate that Just Giggle It has a taste for the dark humor. It really does kind of bring me back to Serial Mom. I do think out of the three of these, out of Serial Night, out of Game Night, Serial Mom, Game Night, and One Night Stand, I think the strongest is probably Serial Mom out of the three of them. Would you agree?
Well, I mean, you're right. Out of all of them, the Serial Mom's the strongest thing because again, One Night Stand has that ending thing too. But it's that's the only reason because I love the directing of One Night Stand. But Serial Mom is kind of more perfect, I guess, by comparison. So yeah, it's. I agree with you.
But this one I do think makes for a good kind of trilogy of just like, dark, simple premises gone terribly, terribly wrong, and I like that it has the Just Giggle It stamp on it. I like how as we said, it definitely does the setup and payoff thing very well. And yeah, just it works pretty well.
Yeah, for me, it's it's very quick. It's a fun subversion. Again, kind of Just Giggle It 101. It serves as a quick Just Giggle It showcase. Like, if you just wanted to kind of sell people what Just Giggle It does a lot of the time is you show them this video, like, again, quick, and it's like, I don't want to sit through a whole video. Okay, just watch this. Literally 3 minutes. Just watch.
Right, right.
And it's, it shows Just Giggle It, committing to the dark joke. And again, the one problem is just that random ending, which doesn't hurt the thing as a whole. It's just, we just should have lingered on it at the end. I think it's just, again, but maybe it's just dusty. Maybe it's just,
Could be, could be.
could be up to, again, folks. Humor is subjective. Always keep that in mind. I just think it's a little less subjective than it was with something like One Night Stand. That one literally is up to, kind of I guess your view of like where to end like a dark gag. But yeah, it's
Mhm.
all right.
Okay, transitioning over here, folks, we have the live action Pokemon movie trailer. Oh, I'm sorry, the live action Powerpuff Girls movie trailer. My bad. Um, so Dragon, this was done at my suggestion because I think this is one of the big hot ticket franchises that Just Giggle It has parodied that we have not yet covered. So,
Yeah,
you
this is
know,
a fun fact,
uh,
Tiki.
what?
Joshua Thomas, when he was doing the Harley Quinn and the Joker commentary recently for episode 2, that had 8 million views on it. And the fun fact I found looking into this is that Powerpuff Girls live action trailer parody, which is the 39th sketch that they did, by the way, is actually the most viewed Just Giggle. It's the most viewed Just Giggle It video at 12 million.
I mean, I can see why though, because this is as we're gonna get into, it's just an incredibly faithful recreation on a visual level. I think it's one of the best and most highly produced sketches that Just Giggle It's ever done. I think the production values are there in spades. It's really, really accurate to the source material. I love this one, Dragon. Maybe not quite as much as the Disney Prince one we did last week, but that's just because, it's the Disney princes. It's like, what can you do? I'm a big Disney guy, but I was just, like I said, from a production point of view, I was blown away by this one, which is why I think it got the viewership that it did.
It's funny for me. Don't get me wrong, the production's great on this, but for me, what really won me over on this one is, by the way, of course, just written, directed, and edited by Joshua Thomas this time around. So we're back to kind of form there. Joshua Thomas, man of many hats. For me, I love the writing on this one. The writing really impressed me on this one, where I love that there's a big commentary on how we use how we used to, not so much now these days, but there was a time, and still occasionally these days, where when we have movies like big summer blockbusters, or superhero films, or big summer blockbusters, and kind of how we sell them, and how we used to you sell them very commercially. And this is kind of like taking a famous cartoon IP, which of course you remember a few years back we were like talking about like Hong Kong Phooey, the movie with Eddie Murphy, and we're
Oh
gonna,
dear,
of course
yeah,
we
yeah.
have actual realized ones like the Woody Woodpecker movie and
There
Yogi
was gonna
Bear.
be there was gonna be a George Lopez, Speedy Gonzalez at one point.
That's what I'm saying. So again, this is a thing that had been happening in Hollywood. Here's a question I'd like to get clarified, because for life of me I can't remember, because I've seen this video before, Tiki, but there's a little in parentheses. Well, I think I forget if I. It says Powerpuff Girls live action trailer 2018. As if, again, if it were a trailer, that's when the promised date is. So my presumption, and they can correct me if I'm wrong here, my presumption is that every so often they change the date on the year so they can kind of make it so it doesn't get outdated. So it's like, hey, in a distant future, we're going to get this, like in 2018, which is of course now, but. So I don't know if they keep changing the years.
Are
I
you
can't
saying
remember.
that Cartoon Network has this weird, like, lost media piece of a Powerpuff Girls live action movie, and they're just keeping it stowed away in their weird Cartoon Network vaults?
Yeah, sure. But anyway, again, it's kind of taking a thing that we've seen happen, but also something that kind of like where we oversell elements of a movie in a trailer. Basically, I love the commentary on how we do trailers that are desperate for people to come see them. Basically, doing
Yes, and I also love how this trailer, gives away too much of the movie.
exactly. It gives away too much of the movie. It's about like how we get adaptations that we don't need the things because of course if you're one whenever you do something based on a cartoon probably a lot of people at the end of the day people are going to say why we have the cartoon why we do a live action version of it or again rarely would you have something from Cartoon Network or Nickelodeon in this case Cartoon Network again aside from something like maybe again I emphasize maybe Samurai Jack where like how the heck could you imagine this in live action, where it's like so many of them. Again, like I've seen certain videos and fan films where people attempt this, and again, it's a novelty. But at the end of the day, like no, we can't. You can't make this into live action, and this trailer makes fun of that, and I think so clever. It's like it's a parody of what the Hollywood system, and of course, as Tiki and I many a time as we talked about Steven Universe and various other shows on Cartoon Network and kind of Cartoon Network's management style. One of these days, if they ever go dip back into live action, one of these days they might do this in the future. You never know. So so yeah, it's about kind of selling this to a modern audience, which of course goes a very different way. All right. Hello.
Yeah.
Well, okay, let's just dive right into it.
What?
Let's just dive right into it then.
Oh, sorry. I didn't realize you were going to my bad. Okay. All right, so we start with a pan across the lab, Dragon, and I love the dramatic narration that we get. I love how we kind of change up Professor Utonium's motivations throughout this trailer. It's kind of like one of those things that maybe the studio would mandate. Instead of creating the perfect little girls, is creating the world's best girlfriend. And he's kind of got that Ash Ketchum vibe to him. You know what I mean?
God, I don't have a dad.
I don't know. It's true. He's like, I'm gonna make the world's perfect girlfriend.
So, again, speaking of this is a great satire on trailers and selling of a property on the big screen. And with that, I love that we have some cliches of big trailers, big teaser trailers, especially where we have that soft emotional music, kind of making it sound like big and important and epic. And it's very Man of Steel-esque, I gotta say. There's a lot of Man of Steel touches.
I could see that, yeah.
Again, we have like kind of that soft, like imagine my voice like it's an island, kind of the music that was going under in that, and the Man of Steel trailer, kind of that applied to the beginning here. We see Professor Utonium, lab chemicals, and the ingredients that we're gonna see, and has a laptop of basically digital female proportions.
Sugar, spice, everything nice.
Until of course,
one day accidents happen.
Yeah, of course. I love one of my favorite touches is he's watching Weird Science. Because when I saw it, I thought that was familiar, like the digital female proportions being made, and I realized, oh my god, yeah, it's from Weird Science. And they showed the clip, and I was like, yes, that's exactly what I was thinking of.
All right, so we see the chemical X spill, which is obviously not a coffee pot being broken.
By the way, I love that in the sugar spice and everything nice. I love that we have like stuffed animals for everything nice and a holy Bible, which cracked me up.
Yes, that is a good detail.
So, by the way, the perfect girl. We got to mention this. So he's going to make the perfect girlfriend, specifically like someone from his real life, which is Piper Henson. And I have to hate the break of Utonium, but sorry, there's only one Piper Henson. You can't replicate her.
Yeah. Sorry, Utonium, not gonna happen.
And he has like an engagement ring in the photo, which suggests either the dramatic that he lost her and he's trying to replace the woman that he loved and he wanted to marry, or more creepily, she rejected him, and now kind of Weird Science style, he wants to create like the next best thing and propose to that maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Strange. So we have a radical studio choice with that, where it's like we're used to a lot of the time. When basically we reveal something in the trailer that people are like, oh my god, we gotta make a big substantial change, and people are gonna have to deal with that. And of course, the big change in this case is we're going from the family where Utonium creates the Powerpuff Girls, and they're his daughters, like the source material. In this case, he creates three human beings, and he kind of tries to romance them.
Oh man, and could you like that would be just a very, very, very ill-fated choice, Dragon.
But again, I love they kind of mirrored like all like one of those controversial choices that you would do in like a live action adaptation, and it's something like many a time it's always been kind of parodied that people make a radical change to like source material, and of course like I could speak to the X-Men movies as a main example, but you have all these sorts of differences in character, and of course there's going to be a buzz about it. And of course, like, what do you do with the Powerpuff Girls that really kind of, aside from just being full grown girls with fingers, like that's just something people have to get used to, because you can't do it without fingers, otherwise it's going to look all wonky. Like how do you make an offensive choice of the Powerpuff Girls? Well, here's one.
God.
So Professor Utonium had it all figured out, and I love Tiki with the narrator. I love that it's not the voice you were trying to imitate at the beginning, Tiki. I love that it's not
because it kind of goes in that Inspector Gadget type route of being as unsimilar to the movie as possible in some respects.
Yeah. I guess that's the better example to you. That's the better example, like kind of a source material kind of change and what it's kind of going for. There is that it's not the Tom Kenny narrator. It's kind of the epic narrator voice guy, almost like someone on like Honest Trailers or something.
Right.
But then we the Holy Bible and everything. And again, they're very faithful. And this is like a deep cut trailer thing. I really love that. We have they're very faithful in the origin with the Chemical X break, and it falls in there. And I love how that was shot, and basically it mirrors how in remakes, like in remakes and shows, but especially with the remakes, you have those centerpiece images that they have to get right, and they have to get right in the trailer so people are wowed by, like, and they're talking about it in a positive way, like, oh my god, look at that, it's just it looks just like the thing I know. And of course, down the line you say, yeah, but they made all these changes, but we got that moment though. So I don't know. By the same token, I love they're kind of getting that in the trailer. Oh my god, they did that so faithfully. It's just like the opening to the Powerpuff Girls, where of course.
And then of course when we see thus the Powerpuff Girls, we're born.
Yep. By the way, a little nitpick. In the coffee pot, we have this amazing shot, and I love this shot. It's like we see the reflection of Utonium stirring the chemicals in the Chemical X. Problem though, we see like I presume the DP and like maybe the sound guy. We see reflections of the two people shooting this, like the cameraman, whoever's helping the cameraman out in this. Where I think it's Jason Ramel. I think he's the DP, whoever he is in company. You can see them shooting the shot in the reflection. So it's always that little like, oh my god, it's such a brilliant shot. But at the same token, hey, who are those other guys? It's like it's a darned if you do, darned if you don't. Anyway, yes. So let's talk about our Powerpuff Girls. So we have Blossom, who's played by Nicole Stone, who was from One Night Stand, the girl from One Night Stand.
Yeah, I like how Blossom is just kind of like the nervous innocent in this all, where it's just kind of like you can tell her character. And again, we're kind of just analyzing the movie that this would be, folks. Like, think of this as almost kind of like a trailer breakdown for a movie that doesn't exist. So, Dragon, I bet throughout this movie, Blossom is going to be kind of like the reluctant leader. You know what I mean?
That's what it looks like, yeah.
All right, then we got Bubbles, who is kind of like the, I'd say out of the three of them, Dragon, Bubbles is the most true to form, because she's sort of the adorable ass kicker.
Yeah, and she got all Bubbles' very memorable lines. So again, Bubbles was definitely Bubbles is always, I presume, a fan favorite from the Powerpuff.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Here's the thing, T. Let's talk a little bit about our nostalgia for the Powerpuff Girls for a moment here.
Sure.
Like for me, when I was younger, I loved Blossom was my favorite, but now looking back on the Powerpuff Girls these days, it kind of goes between Bubbles. But nowadays, the more I look back, I think I like Buttercup the most now. It kind of shifted.
Honestly, I've always been a Buttercup fan.
That's the thing, because Bubbles had all the great lines, but I don't know, Buttercup's been selling me more anytime I kind of go back to it. Yeah,
Buttercup has the best character growth.
That's the thing. Buttercup, she has kind of that interesting, she's kind of like she's the tomboy, but by the same token,
like the Raphael of the group, Dragon.
That's it. T. That's the perfect analogy. Yeah. So anyway, Bubbles is played by Emma Leonard, and Buttercup is played by Annis's Fairweather, and I love the actress on her. I don't think I've seen her in any of the other Just Giggle It videos. Again, bear in mind as we go through them, if I've seen any other ones with her, I might be reminded of that. So, because she is dolled up like Buttercup here, so it might be a different hairstyle or something. I don't know. But yeah, she's my favorite in this sketch here. I think she has a moment in this teak we're gonna get to, and it's an amazing moment of acting. I can't wait to get to
Mhm.
with her. We'll build to that. So they have ultra super. They're saying Professor Utonium is basically giving them the spiel
Girls who
like,
have ultra superpowers now.
so I love Tegan. I looked into this. It kind of drove me crazy because I think they were inspired by the end song, the end theme song for the Powerpuff Girls. Where they have like and you know, they're going through the whole it's kind of the song they sing at the end, and it's like
Yeah,
Blossom, Bubbles, and Buttercup, kind of like save the world, da 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 da, that whole thing. And I'm pretty sure Ultra Superpowers is one of the lines in that, but what they go through in this dialogue scene, Tiki, is it's not exactly like that song, but it feels very much in tune with what that end song's talking, like hyping up about the Powerpuff Girls. So it sounds very inspired by the end theme song.
hmm
Let's see. So Blossom, don't worry, Professor. We've dedicated our powers to fighting crime.
But then we cut to him.
Yes, got to him. I'm going to destroy you. No, sorry. I'm going to destroy Townsville.
Now, Dragon, I think you and I can both agree visually and just on a performance level, this is probably the most accurate thing in this whole video.
It is. So him is great. Him's wonderful. And by the way, him is the I'm sorry. The one thing that bugged me about him, though, I mean, I think the performance is on the money. We do this bit with him coming up that really amazed me. Like, yeah, they got him down pat. But except for one detail, though. I mean, I maybe they were afraid he was going to look a little cheap or look a little silly, but I think they should have taken the risk. They should have given him lobster claws. I missed the lobster claws,
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
I mean, everything else is so in the money. It's all they needed, just the lobster claws, and it would have been perfect. Oh, because we have the line too about the lobster. I mean, it's hard to sell. You got to remember, it's hard to sell a lot of the Powerpuff Girl villains because we have a green a green monkey, and we got like fuzzy lumpkins. We got the gangrene guy. It's hard to sell a lot of the Powerpuff Girl bad guys like the Amoeba Boys, but the Amoeba Brothers. And again, it's him was probably the most realistic and most practical in realizing any of the villains. But by the same token, they got so close to it, so it's impressive.
hmm
By the way, him is played by Carrie Farlow. Carrie Farlow was the Ward Meacham guy at
Oh,
Ryan's.
oh God, let's not go down Ford Meacham
The
route.
point is Ryan's college roommate. That guy. That's from Ryan Gosling's funeral, by the way.
All right.
It's not just.
All
Okay, anyway, so let's see. So
So
Bubbles, like
speaking to the lobster claws, that this is where that visual would have come in handy because Buttercup says, "We're the ones stopping you, you lobster bitch."
yeah. So I love when the
This is kind
girls
of like
land.
a ninja face off, which I kind of got the vibe I got off of this scene. Dragon was it's one of those Michael Bay decisions where it's kind of like, well, we need a mandated fight scene. We need like a fight scene every 10 minutes. And hey, why not have the girls fight some ninjas?
I'm gonna raise you one even better, Tiki. Even better. So the ninja fight. They're battling random ninjas on a rooftop, and I tell you that reminded me very much of Tig. It reminded me of John Peters from that Death of Superman Lives thing, where he had like a mandated ninja scene because he wanted to see Superman fight ninjas.
God,
It
yeah.
reminded me of it's a mandate. We got to have him fight ninjas. So I
Oh,
felt
yeah, I
it's
could see
definitely
that.
trying
See that.
trying to appease like a modern audience, but that is such a John Peters pull. That's what it feels like.
All we need
Uh,
is to have that giant spider.
Yes. By the way, the girls do fight giant monsters all the time. So, hey, Giant Spider, be very welcome. By the way, I love when the girls land. They have the light trails. At least they got the light trails in there. When they're really
That's what I'm
fly.
saying. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, let's see. So again, we have like kind of random ninja battle, and just that was very.
We get this
Basically, it's
great
kind of
bit by Bubbles where she just rapidly punches some guy and then says, "Oh, that was pretty good."
I love that's kind of a fourth wall call. Like this is completely pointless, but hey, there was some neat little choreographed kicks you just made there.
Exactly, exactly.
All
Um,
right, so then we have the weird creator creation kind of
yes,
relationship.
yes, and I'm guessing that this is the acting moment you were talking about here.
Yes, yes. So again, so Utonium says, "Blossom, I'm in love with you,"
Blossom,
and
I'm in love with you.
So we have so again she's kind of processing that professor, and then here's the moment I'm talking about. I love this moment of acting so much here, where we see Blossom in the background. I don't know what it is. I also kind of like the setting because again it's very lived in, feels very like almost like a restaurant or something. I don't know, just it's good staging. And all the Buttercup's in the background. You see her expression go from heartbroken, and it's all in one shot. It's a wonder of emotion, Teak. It's a wonder of emotion. Or she gives this heartbroken look. Where again, she was in love with the professor too. That's what the intimation is. And she goes from this heartbroken look, all in one motion, to his absolute hatred and bitterness. And basically, she kind of goes villain in that moment. Like, yes. Oh boy, she starts like an arc of kind of going from a hero to being really despondent, rejected, and evil.
Mhm. Sure.
I mean, I just love that acting. I mean, again, she's just a fair weather. She knocked it out of the ballpark in that moment, and that's for me. That's probably one of my favorite moments in the entire sketch.
Yeah, I would echo your sentiment there. I think it was interesting that that moment was really kind of it's almost kind of the thing that justifies the change in premise, you know what I mean? Where if they're gonna have that radical change in premise, at least do something really interesting and subversive thematically with it.
And Tiki, that's the beautiful kind of satire of it all in effect right there. Like an action, it's sucking you in like it's an actual trailer, where it's
Exactly.
like, you
Right.
know what? I don't know if I like this change, but I think I can live with it to see
But
where
it's
that
kind of
goes.
like I don't know how I feel about this, but I'm intrigued by it. God damn it! I want to see how it plays out.
It's like an alternate Powerpuff Girls thing. I'll give it a shot. Let's see where it goes. Something like that. It's kind of tricking you into it in that moment there. And so, following that is my second favorite kind of moment. One of the big acting moments too, where I love. This is where they sold him, where him goes from again the Blue Meanie voice of "I'm going to destroy Townsville." We go from that to him in this moment saying, "With a death to the Powerpuff Girls."
Uh-huh.
It's like yes, we have the voice shift, just like oh, it's wonderful, just like Tom Kenny doing him. It's perfect.
Speaking of Tom Kenny, we see the mayor reveal.
Yeah, we have the mayor and Miss Bellum. The one thing, again, little pet peeps, very light, very small, but this one's a little more glaring than the coffee pot thing. Is that, folks, we got to call them on this stuff because Just Giggle, they've been going on so long now, getting everything right. We got to poke out some holes when we get to because they do so much right. We got to point out a few of the wrong things they do. Where the mayor here, his monocle has fallen in the scene. I guess they used like whatever the best take was, but here's the thing: he has a monocle, and the monocle has fallen. But again, just now he's without the monocle. You don't see it fall; it's just it has already fallen. It's just dangling.
Mhm.
It was again. He's missing one of his big iconic, the monocle, the little hat. They got the little hat just right, and the mustache. So basically saying, "Oh, Townsville's under attack. What do we do?"
Yep, and then then we get a really dramatic moment with Buttercup, like, and again, Dragon. This is kind of like a change in direction. Like you could not do this with kindergarteners. Like, Bubbles is just like Buttercup, no,
No.
as Buttercup snaps a guy's neck.
And we have the Man of Steel kind of next.
Yep, pretty much.
And again, we're telegraphing all what this movie might be here. Where Buttercup, she's kind of going rogue after her heart
And
gets
this is
broken.
what I'm saying. Like the Buttercup thing is totally like okay, the trailer is now starting to give too much away at this point.
I gotta tell you though, with Buttercup going rogue again, less for the romance angle of it all, but just honest, in all honesty, just as the Powerpuff Girls, as far as Powerpuff Girls go, I gotta tell you, I'm interested by a story where Buttercup, because Buttercup's always been kind of again, definitely, as you said, Dave, she's very much kind of the more archy of the group, where she's out of the three girls, the one who learns the most lessons is probably Buttercup. She learns the most lessons, and I like this kind of Buttercup going down the wrong path here. And it's kind of like when she fell in love with the leader of the gang, Green Gang. Remember?
Mhm.
It was kind of like one of those stories, and this is kind of like a darker version. Like, what if Buttercup she went rogue and she has her powers? And honestly, essentially, what they did, Tiki, was so clever is that we kind of went the whole it's kind of like a chronicle with the Powerpuff Girls. It's kind of like now we've killed, now we've Steve's dead, so now we got to deal with the consequences. Not really mean Steve. That's the other show, but Steve.
Oh no, don't even bring that other show into it. God.
Okay, anyway, so let's see. Then Bubbles powers up, and she powers up almost Dragon Ball Z style, saying,
Too hardcore.
"I am too hardcore." So then we have again there's kind of a crossover from the previous sketch we talked about. And again, the fun fact of this is that we had this, then the following. So chronologically, it comes 39, the Powerpuff Girls live action, and then 40 game night. And Jamie Cox is in both, where Jamie is the news anchor saying, "Where are the Powerpuff Girls?" So we have some epic trailer music and some great moments, kind of rapid fire past here, and like the big framing device here is we have to stop Buttercup, and again that's the chronicle of it all. We have to stop you, Ding Don.
Oh,
So
that's
then,
absolutely what it is. Yeah.
we see Miss Bellum. Let's see, we see this. Now here's this one thing kind of has my head scratching. I mean, it doesn't matter because we're towards the end of it, where she's we have this odd fireball versus lightning ball bit between Blossom and Buttercup, which they didn't do the lightning ball thing at all.
Honestly, the way I drew that was just kind of like it's again poking fun at like adaptations and stuff. Like, like with Dragon Ball Evolution is a low of low example. It's like there was nothing in that movie that was actually accurate to the series when it came to fighting style and when it came to powers and everything like that.
Or the Last Airbender.
Right, right.
So let's see. Like a part of me was like kind of hoping like they were going to do like the freeze breath or the heat vision because Blossom had that whole like freeze breath thing.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so then we have these big cuts. We have the big kind of final cuts where we see the sisters together. We see Bubbles doing her power up thing. We see him, like a close up shot of him. We see the professor, then like the three girls together, and then we have the three girls huddled in the alley. Take us to this one.
Yes, this is one of my favorite shots in the Just Giggle It sketch just because of how well it's composed and how effective it is. They're huddled in the alley, just like we see in this rude image right here, folks. And I believe it's Bubbles who asks, "Who are you?"
I think so. I think that's right.
Who are you? And then we see the shadow. We see kind of like the big cone, the big head, the long head in shadow. We don't see him, folks, but we see the shadow of him, and it's a really effective kind of like tease. And we hear, clear as day, more Jojo.
We have
Damn,
some great
that's a way to end the trailer.
We have some great score, and then of course we have again. It's a simple equation when it comes to the Powerpuff Girls, and this like it's something that's very true with the show itself. And when you do that here, it works wonders. And again, by the same token, while this is farcical and like it's a satire, it's a satire in the best of ways. In that, hey, it's kind of selling you on this fake movie where the instant grab for a Powerpuff Girls fan is when you play that music, and it's when you play the music to the iconic property at the very end. Dun, 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 dun. Whenever you hear that theme, especially if you saw the Powerpuff Girls on the big screen in the movie like I did, or if you just you see a fan film of the Powerpuff Girls and they play that theme, Tiki, that's kind of your John Williams for the Powerpuff Girls. It's like it's like something kind of big, bombastic. It's fun, but by the same token, it has that when you ramp it down like they do at the end of the trailer here. It's like it's kind of that soft, like old familiar place of like. Dun, 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 dun. It's like a small. It's kind of that. It's almost like a neighborhood cul-de-sac, friendly, like welcome music almost. It's like,
Right, right.
hey, come with us. That sort of thing. And I kind of imagine in regards to how Mojo Jojo work into the plot of this fake movie.
Oh, it'd be a team up, right?
No, here's what I thought. I thought Mojo Jojo because again, this is a my guess is that we do have some Powerpuff Girl references all throughout this, and I think the real questions, I, I'm going to have to imagine that Joshua Thomas, he was a Powerpuff Girls fan. He just he picked again, fitting into that kind of that satire of like let's take the Powerpuff Girls and we're going to make radical changes. To befit kind of what trailers do a lot of the time. Again, if that's intentional, that means it's not like what we've had before with Joshua Thomas, where we've had like the Walking Dead parody, where he's really kind of a little more hands off on it. Where
Right.
again, he doesn't know much about the Walking Dead, and he hands it over to someone who does. I get a sense of someone who knows it, and he's smartly kind of taking taking a lot of on the nose references out. And I think what we have here is it's kind of like drawing reference to the movie, where in the movie for the Powerpuff Girls, they Mojo Jojo was tied into their origin, and he approached them in an alleyway, very much like this. And I think what they're proposing is that Mojo Jojo meets them in a scene early in their creation, and basically Mojo Jojo is going to, almost like an evil Yoda, he's going to bring Buttercup to the dark side, kind of riff Buttercup from the Powerpuff Girls.
Yeah, I could see that.
All right.
Okay, so just final thoughts on my end, Dragon. I think this is probably, like, in terms of visuals, probably the most accurate that they've ever gotten. And I really like the idea that this is not just a parody of the Powerpuff Girls, but it's also a parody on trailer editing in general. They kind of get one level deeper when it comes to that, and that's kind of like the Just Giggle It seal of quality. And just overall, just the like I said, the visuals are great. The writing, it's kind of fun to just kind of pick apart and speculate what the actual movie would be like. And yeah, it's a very faithful recreation, very accurate portrayal, and I'd like to see more of these fake trailers. Honestly, I think Just Giggle It's really good at them.
Yeah. All right. For me, at the end of the day, I think it takes a parody and adds a really smart layer of satire and commentary to, where studios have gone with beloved IPs before. It's strange, but very well made and acted. Again, it's more of a kind of what if glimpse of a parody, which again, in essence, every parody is sort of a what if. We have more of it, and this feels like let's take a what if and let's really stretch it. Let's see where the what if would go, where it could have gone. And again, I think at the end of the day, Tika, they pulled off the greatest trick of selling you on the fake trailer. Like, where again, it kind of gets you wrapped into, where again, you either like, okay, that's funny and that's silly, but while you're saying that, you're saying, wow, this is so well made, and it feels like at a studio that would make this, and it kind of makes you buy into it. Whether again, it's kind of like in kind of a, like, I'm imagining if anyone would like be true, like, stupid enough to really buy into it, like, oh my god, who could believe this could actually be made? Like, who thought it was funny? If anyone's getting offended by it, they if anyone's for some odd reason got offended by it, they would realize, oh my god, I'm getting offended by this fake trailer because they did such a good job in making me think a studio would be stupid enough to make something like this, and that they did such a good job in selling you on a studio mentality, on a commercial take on the Powerpuff Girls. And it's just, again, it's kind of like the greatest trick the devil ever pulled, is convincing you he didn't exist. It's that sort of trick with a parody trailer. And again, I've seen my fair share, like, parody trailers and like kind of like fake what ifs and fan made stuff. And this is really impressive. I tell you, it serves the purposes very well. And again, it sells you on the con in the best of ways.
All right, folks. Well, thank you so much for watching. As always, we implore you guys, we will graciously take any requests that you have. We will give you a shout out in the comments, and basically it's no questions asked. If you request a sketch, it will be covered on the show. Just, it's just 100% guaranteed we will make it our top priority.
Folks, so it is written, so shall it be done. You guys write it. That's all we're asking.
Exactly. So send in your suggestions, folks. We hope you enjoyed your evening here on the Just Giggle It grab bag. And don't forget, Dragon, don't forget, I don't have it, Dad.